First impressions are the most lasting, and the Wuthering Waves closed beta 2 just went live a few hours ago, and the first impressions among content creators seems really good across the board. However, you might not think so if you looked at the Wuthering Waves community. Now, we know Kuro Games has redone roughly 90% of the story, but just because it has changed doesn't necessarily mean that all those changes are good. There are numerous posts and comments talking about how players feel they are disappointed about the changes made to the introduction of particular characters, particularly about how oddly welcoming the characters were at the start. Now let me explain. In CBT 1, we wake up to Yang Yang, who is nursing us, and after moving locations we are introduced to Chixia and Baiji, who are initially cautious of the Rover. Their cautiousness and distrust only grows even more so after the battle with Crownless, for reasonable in-game reasons later on. After the battle with Crownless, Rover absorbs the Crownless Echo. Now echoes are made of an energy called Wutherium, which is incredibly dangerous to resonators, and Rover not only absorbed this energy but was completely unharmed by the process. Now it makes sense why others would be wary of someone they don't know who could do something like this, which leads Chixia to pointing her gun at the Rover. Keep this point in mind, it's going to be important later. In CBT2 we wake up to both Yang Yang and Chixia, who is now a lot more welcoming to us in general. Later when we are introduced to Baiji, she seems a little anxious, but Yang Yang says it's just because she's worried that we're up and walking around so soon. After the battle with Crownless, the Rover absorbs the Echo again, but instead of the distrust and cautiousness that we had before, this time Chixia seems excited and asks if the Rover has any other hidden powers. So why the big difference between CBT1 and CBT2? Remember when I mentioned Chixia pointing her gun at the Rover? This did not go over well, especially not with the CN players. So much so that, according to this user, it's become meme status over there. They didn't like that one of their waifu characters was in any way hostile to their self-insert character. Now, I don't speak Chinese, so I can't confirm for myself, but several users have stated that the biggest reason for this particular change was because the CN community can't stand and tolerate mean characters, and that they only want overpowered harem-circled protagonists. Now, whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. I'm going off second-hand information from the internet of all places, and I know how unreliable that can be. All I can say is, here in Japan, I've personally seen and heard comments like these from players about other series numerous times before, and so to hear that CN and other Asia-specific players also want this from their protagonists rings true for me. But again, I'm not sure, as I've not seen any definitive confirmation. So what should Kuro Games have done? I think that even though it makes sense, they were right to have removed the gun pointing scene, as it seems to be a sticking point even among some US and European players. Next, they should have toned down the hostility, but still show that they're cautious of this stranger, who they're not sure is friend or foe. Right now, many people feel like Kuro Games swung the pendulum too far in the other direction. As one user put it, this is like curing frostbite by jumping into a volcano. Now, having said all this, I need to throw a big caveat in here. I know later on in the story, something is revealed which mitigates and gives an in-game reason for this overly friendly interaction. But as I stated in the intro, first impressions are the most lasting, and this left a bitter taste in many players' mouths. What do you think about the intro? Do you prefer CBT1 or CBT2? Or are you like me and you're somewhere in between? Let me know down in the comment below. So until next time, see you in the next video. Peace.